Palestine is still unfolding 11 days after a Norfolk Southern train carrying highly toxic chemicals derailed. A letter sent to the company by the EPA notes that a number of chemicals, including ones that had not previously been known were on the train, continue to leak into the ground, into the atmosphere, and into the water. Reading from the letter, quote, materials released during the incident were observed and detected in samples from Sulphur Run, Leslie Run, Bull Creek, North Fork Little Beaver Creek, and the Ohio River. About 30 million people live in the Ohio River Basin, and about 5 million people rely on the river for drinking water. A hazmat specialist in East Palestine told a local news outlet that Norfolk Southern was so focused on getting the rail line operational again that the company may have made the environmental damage even worse.
3 more chemicals that were on board the Norfolk Southern train that derailed here in East Palestine just over a week ago. And we're being told that some of those chemicals are dangerous.
We basically nuked a town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open.
It's a pretty disturbing allegation, but one that's backed up by the EPA. In that letter to Norfolk Southern, the agency noted, quote, areas of contaminated soil and free liquids were observed and potentially covered and or filled during reconstruction of the rail line, including portions of the trench burn pit that was used for the open burn-off of vinyl chloride. According to remediation plans submitted by Norfolk Southern, the company will set up a task force to monitor a number of sites, including groundwater wells, for potential contamination. Of course, people in the area have already been advised to return to their homes and informed that everything is safe, even before this more robust monitoring can take place. According to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, more than 3,500 fish have died as a result of chemicals spilled in the train derailment. That's in addition to all the other animals that residents have reported dying since the spill. And the New Republic reported that, quote, people in East Palestine and neighboring towns are suffering from respiratory issues, skin reactions, and more. And if you're wondering where the nation's transportation...
All right, before he gets into Pete Buttigieg, everybody knows he's a transportation director, the Democrat, Pete Buttigieg. Congratulations for Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg. I'm sorry, Dwayne Bush. I got to do this real quick. Pete Buttigieg, you're a fucking idiot. Nobody cares that just because you're gay, that you get to get all these votes and use your gay identity to get into the Democratic Party and fuck us over. You was the mayor of a black town and you fucked them over, and now you're fucking over our infrastructure. 2,000, Dwayne Bush, 2,000 derailments since he's been around. 2,000.
And he's controlling the transportation section?
Yes, he's supposed to be the guy in transportation. And he waited 10 days later to talk about this. And he's talking about fucking balloons. So we got these private
looking up. He should be looking right in front of him.
Yeah. He looking up. He should be like what you just said. Now, you say something about The Simpsons. What was that Simpsons episode you were talking about? Let's talk about that real quick.
No, I was just saying, like in the beginning where he's falling asleep at the radioactive place he's working at.
Right.
Homer, and like they're trying to hold on to the radioactive stuff and it falls out and bad stuff's happening. But it's like, falling asleep at the wheel. It's literally what's happening here. I just thought that was like a interesting thing. But also, why is there so many like beaver named creeks over there? I was very confused. There's all these beaver and then Ohio River. And I was like, oh, okay. That's all I know.
Ohio has a fetish for beavers. No, I'm joking.
Groundhogs and beavers.
Groundhogs and beavers. But listen, it's like so fucking ridiculous, dude. The unions, the unions literally warned him. They said, dude, if you do not tell these private companies, because our rail stations are still privately owned, which is stupid. It should be controlled by the government, just like every other country. That's America just wants to make everything private so people can make money and not give a fuck. That's just how it goes. So, they told him, dude, if you don't tell these people to make sure that we put maintenance on these tracks, we have $1 trillion effed up infrastructure. We need to start working on it now. We're behind. other first world nations and other even poor nations that are getting help from other countries are literally rebuilding their infrastructure and making it more stronger. Why isn't America not doing that? Because America wants to care about building more capital than actually making sure our railroads are safe. This should not be happening.
Yeah,
We just heard about another derailment. Go ahead.
I was just talking about this with my girlfriend, like in terms of the C train. We're calling it the crackhead train now because it's just like they're not taking care of people who need help. That's in the train area, and it's like they just people. There's more cops than ever just patrolling train station areas. Seeing if anyone jumps the turnstile and stuff. And you have to pay $100 for all this stuff. But it's like, are you making the service better for people? For them to want to pay for this stuff? Of course not. And it's like,
no.
What they just had something new where it's like the F train is looking really nice and beautiful now. We're gonna have these nice, and you're just putting like a bow on like a shit sandwich, and it's just like, what? I don't want to eat this. You can't make it pretty without the function of it being what it needs to be. And and you hear places like in Japan where their train system is hella fast, and like places in Europe that's just going really quick and really like well efficient. And we're still stuck in this old system. And I feel like I'm pretty sure Ohio is stuck in this old system too. Of just like, it shouldn't be that easy to get that many derailments back to back.
Right.
Especially for precious cargo.
Chemicals.
Yeah.
What?
That makes, there's no excuse for this.
Dwayne, what are we doing? Like what's going to happen in the future with this if we don't fix our infrastructure? Like, electric cars, I'm sorry guys, it's not going to solve everything. Like these are people that are talking about climate change. Don't the Democrats talk about climate change a lot? Why are they allowing infrastructure like this to become a hazardous to climate change? You got chemical clouds. I don't even want to show the photos. People just look it up. Chemical clouds, acid rain. Do you know what acid rain is? Look it up. If you drive your car during acid rain, what happens to your car? This is what people are dealing with. Dude.
Yeah. I feel like, and I was looking because I feel like I want to get better at geography, but I'm just like, wow, Ohio's way closer to New York than I thought. It's like 2 states away. And I'm just like, oof, that can easily bleed into, where I live, I'm sure, if this continues.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So I'm like, and it's like, to kill that many fish, we're already like, we can barely have fish now that doesn't have plastic in them or isn't, all this stuff. So like, we just dwindling our sources of food. So I'm just like, what are we going to end up eating later on?
Yeah, exactly. So you're effing up the ecosystem. The whole town's evacuated, and there's other towns affected. How long is this going to keep going on until the Democrats that talk about how we are environmental friendly and fighting climate change, while the Republicans are saying that we don't believe in climate change? Y'all got to do better.
Yeah,
y'all got to do better.
I know the dumbest stuff, man. Until it's too late.
They took sick leave. They took fucking sick leave from the rail workers, Dwayne, on Christmas. During Christmas, they took 7 days of sick leave away from them. They said you only get 1 day of sick leave. After the union said that they were being worked too hard to the bone, and there's no precautions to make sure that these infrastructures are going to be safe. Like, there's a lot of these things that they were talking about, and the Democrats just literally ignored them and just said, no, you guys need to go back to work. So that's why I get mad, people, when I see Ocasio-Cortez go to a Met Gala where she got thousands of dollars just to get a ticket for it, and she wears a dress, tax the rich. She wears a damn dress that says tax the rich, but she's over here voting to take away sick leave from union workers. How much sick leave does senators get? Do you know, Dwayne Book?
That's a great question. I don't think I've ever looked that up for any reason, but how many?
Months.
Oh yeah.
It's a sick leave, bro.
I mean, they are pretty old people, so I mean,